Hello everyone, this is J.R. Kofer of Gospel of Health, and it's been a while since we've talked, so I wanted to come on and give you a live update of what's going on with our digital app. I know many have been waiting patiently, some impatiently, for the launch of our app, and I'll say this is probably one of the most smoothest technical moves the church or the ministry has made, and I was concerned about that because generally things running too smooth concern me, because I know the devil has to pop up his head some type of way, some type of time. Well, we got almost down to the very last portion where we were about to get the digital protocols from the streaming service, link it up with the website, the app, which is almost finished. It's just in that last little piece there. And we had a meeting because we wanted to make sure about something concerning what we call the back end as far as hosting our media, because we have, I would say, well, we have more than 1,000 videos that we're bringing over. We're bringing over more content than more people even have on the live streaming digital channel arena. And even our streaming service said that numerous times. However, their ability to host that content, they exaggerated. So fortunately, close to the end, before we started going full throttle with these individuals, we found out that they were not able to host the back end and our video on demand and so on as well as they said. Their front end, as far as the streaming, the latency and so on, excellent. However, the back end, they had not invested enough money into that, and we really needed people, a company that had both a powerful back end and front end that were able to stream, have very little latency as far as buffering and how quickly it gets up and runs, as well as being able to host a lot of content. We have a lot of videos in our archive, our library, that we need to get out to people. And we're going to be making new content at a very, very rapid pace. So we need to have a large back end. So we were able to amicably part ways with that streaming company and move on to a larger one. God is just opening up doors so that we can move to a larger one to get our content out. So we have been delayed. As you can see, we should have been out at least mid to late January. It's already February, and we've been delayed because we had to get a new streaming company and get our content. So that's kind of where we are. We're just in the waiting mode to get our content that's already been transcoded and ready to go, get it uploaded to this new streaming service, make the last digital protocol connections between the app and the streaming service together, and then we pretty much launch. Because basically we'll send it to Google, takes about a week, we'll be up on Google. Send it to Apple, Apple takes about a month, so we'll launch prayerfully in the next, I'm praying, the next 30 days or so. But keep us in prayer, keep watching. But also I want to even make a point about that, because we're talking about the difficulties, the challenges of trying to get a streaming channel, 24/7 streaming channel going, getting it in a way that is quality and is worth something. I want to ask a question to those who are watching, listening, whether you support this ministry or not, whether you're spying on what I'm doing or you're spiritually engaged in what I'm doing. I want to ask you a question. The money that you're spending in a spiritual context, is it worth it? You might say, what do I mean by that? The money you're spending in a spiritual context, is it worth it? In other words, I talk to people all the time. I've talked to people for decades. And they're faithful tithers. They tithe as much as they give offering. They into Christian education and so on and so forth. And they have, as a result of faithfully tithing, faithfully giving offering, and supporting Christian education as they saw it and understood it, many individuals that I've known, their kids do not believe in the message. Their kids do not have a grounding in the message because of the educational opportunities they had at their churches, in their conferences. They've been faithful tithers, and not only has it been disproportional, the amount of money coming back into their areas concerning the black work as well as the white work is very disproportional, but even the type of ministers that they're paying to support and pay the salaries of are not even subpar. They are very, very disappointed in what they're getting as far as ministerial labor and ministerial ministry toward them. They're faithfully giving these funds and they're not getting any ROI, return on investment. And it is an investment if you look at the Spirit of Prophecy. It is an investment in the work. But again, are we wise in where we're putting and investing our funds? I'm looking at trying to start a 24-hour digital channel. What I believe is going to be the new mode of doing ministry until all buying and selling stops. I believe just like the printing press and movable type revolutionized not only the world, but also the way that the church operates. It actually destroyed a great amount of the power the papacy had by getting communications and content and information to be spread quickly by the average person that was able to either create a printing press or utilize one. I think the digital revolution, again, as I've said in the other times, is a way that the whole paradigm has shifted. There are conferences that people that preach present truth were not able to get into if they were trying to follow the church supportive model or trying to travel around and go to different churches and get speaking engagements. There were churches and conferences you could not get into because of preaching present truth or being quote unquote conservative. The internet broke down those barriers. I remember at one time it was very, very difficult, near impossible to get a speaking engagement in Texas because of the fact that the Texas Black Regional Conference leaders really despise any connotation of present truth. One of the largest followings that I have digitally has been in Texas. Same thing in New York. The New York churches, mostly West Indian, but even those, the African American led churches, did not want present truth to a great degree. That all has been broken down by present truth, digital broadcasting, digital publishing, using the internet, using live stream as I'm using right now. Both people that wanted to support the ministry and people that were spying, trying to figure out what you're doing, looking, getting mad at what you're doing, they still were views. They still were racking up interest. They were showing that there was a great interest there. Right now, when we stand here in 2023, is it 2023, somewhere around there? We're in a time where everything is going towards streaming. Spotify and all these different channels are going towards streaming. Everyone's talking about streaming channels. But we're still doing websites. We're still doing Facebook and social media. Social media is closing down for those people that don't have a more liberal alphabet view of the world. And for those that don't recognize it's going to actually start breaking down very, very greatly as we go on, as time goes on. But I'm going to say this. I believe that in short order, people are going to be forced to, by their channels being completely taken down without any notice or being censored by any notice. They're going to find that the social media is not as safe a place as they once thought. They'll find that whereas resting upon conference employment and conference scheduled meetings was on sinking sand, quickly social media as we know is going to become sinking sand. And unless you have your own digital channel where you can control the content, the moderation of the content, you're going to be in a very, very difficult place as a social media platformed evangelist. If that's your way of getting out to your supporters, your parishioners, your disciples, and or getting out to the world, you're going to find that this idea of digital media and digital streaming, having your own channel, is going to be the way that everything's going to change. Right now, there's a noted evangelist right now that's just started in the Northeast doing a online church, and a conference is sponsoring it. Now, of course, hey, I speak as a fool, but when I started doing the same concept over a decade ago, I was the devil incarnate. But now it's the latest and greatest thing. But again, as the secular song says, too much, too little, too late. Here we're trying to get into going live as a church, having a digital church per se, when really we should be looking at streaming, digital streaming. And I'll say this as well. Christian people generally, and black individuals, people of color, specifically, have a great problem in not owning their own content owning their own space. YouTube, Facebook, and so on, as I said before, is like, debt peonage, like sharecropping, like, renting out the land and having someone own the land and own everything about it, but basically you're just able to kind of stay there as long as you're productive and they can yank you at any time. Owning your own app, owning your own content, streaming yourself, doing exactly what YouTube. What keeps you from doing exactly what YouTube is doing, Facebook is doing? Knowledge. You can look it up online how to do it. You can call me. What's hindering people from having 24-hour streaming channels? There's some people that are streaming a lot of content, and to me it's nonsense what they're streaming. It's not actually truly present truth, but they're streaming a lot of content. What keeps someone like that taking their library they already have, if they've saved it, and what they're going to do in the future from streaming 24/7? What keeps you from doing that? Everything is going there. I'll end with this because I don't want to be too verbose. When Danny Shelton, decades ago, had the idea to start doing his own television station, those that he shared it with, he says, laughed him to scorn. Laughed and scorned with the idea of him having his own television. Now, he wasn't going through CBS, NBC, or starting an actual national broadcasting system like, again, CBS, NBC, but he was looking at the idea of this new format of satellite television and getting the idea of doing content from his own media studio and streaming the content live or recording content and playing it as live on satellite. Revolutionized the way Adventists receive content and made a ministry, a digital ministry, you might say, that exists to this day, regardless of what you think about 3ABN or where it is or where it's going or whether it's trajectory up or down. Or that's not the issue. The issue is Danny Shelton had the foresight to see this as a medium, and starting out with a present truth mindset, having people like Doug Batchelor, well, not Doug Batchelor, as a matter of fact, it was actually Joe Cruz at the time, Jim Arbito, a lot of present truth speakers at that time sided and were helping him build this work. And a lot of people were interested in what he's doing. A lot of people started getting on satellite television, buying satellites because of Danny Shelton. What hinders people today from getting on streaming channels or getting an app when the whole framework is built out for us? It's not like Danny Shelton trying to get people to actually put in $1,000, $3,000 satellites at their home. We're talking about the fact that the entire internet framework pipeline has been built out for us. Most people have, in most places, streaming capabilities. They have internet that's fast enough they can stream. They have cell phones. They have digital cell phones. They have smartphones. They can download the app. Our app is going to be free, absolutely free. We're going to ask for a subscription to this channel because there's funds that are needed to keep making content, to create and to consistently create quality media. Upgrades and cameras, stuff, all that kind of stuff costs money. Going to different sites costs money. The charge we'll ask is going to be nominal. It's going to be the charge of, 3 bags of chips, 4 bags of chips for a year subscription. But again, if enough people are able to subscribe, it starts to create a greater amount of ability for us to hire people and keep this work going. Digital streaming, 24/7 digital streaming. You can change from going to YouTube and seeing things here and there and not being able to say anything to coming to our streaming channel where we'll be able to talk about vaccination, indoctrination, anything we want to talk about, the sexual revolution, anything we want to talk about, we can talk about it because it is our app, it is our channel, it is our streaming service. We own it. We are able to do what we will to present truth. There's no one to pull us off of our own channel. There's no one to moderate our own channel. We're accountable to the individuals that believe in our content, largely. You want to talk about accountability. So again, we thank you for your prayers. Think about this. Think about this as, again, we close. What is the return on investment that you've made into the channels of Adventism that you have supported for so many years? What return on investment have you received? What has been the spiritual life of your wife, your husband, your marriage? Has it survived what your spiritual understanding of Adventism is and what you've been paying to get supported? Has your children been thoroughly and properly educated, rooted and grounded in Adventism by precept and example in Christian education? What you have spent and paid into, what you've invested into, has it benefited you? If it hasn't, if you don't see any real benefit, and again, we're talking about practically seeing as well as spiritually seeing, then with rational minds, with spiritual minds, should we think of a different way, a different mode of supporting ministries that actually are helping explain the truth to your family, your children, doing video presentations that go through a homeschool curriculum, go through content for children, go through health information that's going to help you avoid both comorbidities and the resulting sicknesses that are going to be deadly because of having comorbidities when you come up all these flus and various things that are coming upon the earth and will come in greater degree. Are we really getting a return on our investment in what we're spiritually paying into churches, conferences, or ministries? What are we getting back? Think on that. And while you think on that, may God bless you. Continue to pray for us. Again, give us around, I'd say about 30 days to really get everything situated, that we can start sending these app additions to Apple and Google. And we hope that your prayers will expedite the process. May God bless you.